guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It means tonight was AEW Dynamite, and tonight was the 200th episode of AEW Dynamite, and I'm just going to say it. Like, outside of the RVD thing, it just felt like another random episode of Dynamite. It didn't feel special. Yeah, we got that one video package showing a bunch of different wrestlers and different things that have happened over the 200 episodes of Dynamite and this and that. But it just felt like another random episode of Dynamite. Like the Elite versus Jarrett, Lethal, and Satnam Singh. Random. Tony Storm versus Hikaru Shida. Yeah, there was a title change, but still kind of random. I mean, yeah, like I said, title change. But it's not like we'd never seen a title change on Dynamite before. Then we had a ROH tag title match. The Jericho, I'll say it right now, that Jericho, Takeshita, Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia match was boring. I thought it was boring. I didn't like that match at all. It opened up the show, and by the time it was over, I was like, oh, that was it? So, again, outside of the RVD stuff, and I guess you could say MJF and Adam Cole officially being announced for Wembley and All In, random ass show that really meant nothing. Even the Anything Goes match just felt like a random hardcore match with no real stakes. So, but we also got Luke right over here. Luke, what did you think of the show?
Honestly, it was very underwhelming. Like yeah, they did a decent job, like setting stuff up for All In. Like they finally announced something for All In. But other than that, it basically just felt like just a bunch of stuff thrown onto the show. Like the triple threat hardcore match, it was basically just a bunch of guys bleeding for nothing, really.
Well, only then maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Only Trent was actually bleeding. Moxley didn't even bleed, which really surprised me. Like, that was a shock.
And also the Elite finally announcing on Dynamite saying like, "Hey, we re-signed with the company and stuff." Like, other than that,
but
it was very underwhelming.
But even with that, we knew that before I even woke up this morning, because that was announced on the Sports Illustrated article before I was even awake, and I woke up at like 8:30 this morning. So, again, cool. They said it really quick. Hey, we're not going anywhere. Okay, we already knew. It's not like it was a big major announcement made on the show. Would have been cool if they announced it on the show and then had the big write-up with Sports Illustrated tomorrow morning. That's how I would have done it. But, hey, to each their own. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, well, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff of 4 games, and you always get one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to head over to YouTube, hit that join button, and become a channel member. Finally, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're getting The Remnant 2, The Expanse, a Telltale series, buying something off of the up to 75% off summer sale or more, use our code PW Unlimited at checkout for the Epic Game Store, and you'll give us a little kickback. It doesn't cost you anything, but we get stuff for it. It's a good way for you guys to support us at no extra cost. Heck, claim the free games, because the free games are only free till tomorrow. It's Homeworld Remastered and a Swerve Steel. You got till tomorrow to claim those. And then tomorrow, 2 new games are going to go up as free games. Bloons TD6, which I haven't played, and Loop Hero, which I have played, which is really fun. So yeah, tomorrow, go claim Loop Hero for free on the Epic Game Store and use our code PWUNLIMITED for all Epic Games and Epic Game Store purchases. So with that, as far as the show itself does go, This was the 200th episode of AEW Dynamite. Excalibur welcomed us alongside Tony Schiavone and Taz as Judas Hits and Chris Jericho and Takeshita make their way down to the ring, accompanied by Don Callis. Which it looked like during the entrance when they were walking out, the pyro goes off and Don barely got out of the way of it. I noticed that. I was like, hold on, did Don almost get hit by the pyro?
Yeah, I kind of noticed that as well.
So, like I said, the match was just there, and it really didn't do much for me. I mean, I get where the story's supposed to be. Jericho wants to be with his friend Don, but he knows that the JAS have been loyal to him and doesn't want to be disloyal to them and this and that. It's just not doing it for me. So Guevara and Jericho started off the match trading shots early, and there was some kicks to the midsection and a jumping knee from Guevara that led to a La Sex God pose from he and Garcia, not he and Jericho. When Garcia did tag in, he thrusted at Jericho and demanded Takeshita make the tag. Takeshita put on the boosters early on and hit a leaping clothesline before mocking the thrust from Garcia. With Garcia down, Jericho tagged in and slapped Garcia, only waking him up. Callis then tripped to the leg of Garcia, and he ran right into a big boot with Jericho unaware of the trip, heading into a commercial break. After being isolated the entire break, Garcia got the knees up on a lion salt, which allowed Guevara to make the hot tag and meet Takeshita with a huge crossbody. Both Takeshita and Jericho were tossed to the floor, and Guevara hit back-to-back dives, leading to a frog splash back inside for a 2. Jericho and Guevara had a little scrap battle before Garcia bolted in with a tackle on Jericho, while Takeshita hit Guevara with a blue thunder bomb. After Guevara avoided the walls of Takeshita, that's what they called his version of the walls of Jericho, the walls of Takeshita, he caught an incoming Jericho with a Spanish fly. Guevara then got the tag to Garcia, who ran right into a code breaker for a 2. Garcia was sent to the corner. There was an exploder out of it with a flying knee as Takeshita was sent outside again by Guevara, who hit a massive shooting star press to the floor, and then an elbow, and his elbow popped Takeshita right in the back of the face, or back of the head, I mean. Back inside the ring, Garcia tried to go for the Dragon Slayer while referee Aubrey Edwards, for some reason, just wasn't paying attention. She had her back turned. She was just looking off into the crowd. Don Callis cracked Garcia with the baseball bat. Jericho sees this, looks over at Don, and audibly on camera just yells, "What the fuck?" Then eventually decides, all right, I'll go for the cover. He pins Garcia, and there we go. So Jericho and Takeshita do pick up the victory, but Jericho was very, I guess you could say, not fully wanting to go for the pin there and not wanting to get the win in that fashion. But what did you think of the match overall and the way it ended?
I mean, the match wasn't great, but everyone understands, all the hype going in this match. Yeah, Jericho, he wants to be with Don, but he doesn't want to leave the Jericho Appreciation Society, and this is kind of like a test for him. Does he want to be with Don?
Right.
Or does he want to stay with his friends? But honestly, I don't care what happens, really.
I don't either.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't care what happens.
Yeah, none of this matters to me. It's kind of just I get the story. I understand it. Him and Don were friends and partners back in the 90s, and Don now wants Jericho to be with him. And I mean, I understand it, but it just hasn't piqued my interest. So they send it to Tony Khan backstage, who thanks the fans for watching 200 episodes of AEW Dynamite, who has been with them he's like, thank you for being with us this long. And now we are on the road to the biggest pro wrestling event in history at Wembley Stadium. We'll see. They then kick it to a video just highlighting the 200 episodes of Dynamite and all the biggest moments they've had. We then go to the back again where Renee Paquette tries to catch up with Chris Jericho. A furious Daddy Magic Matt Menard storms up and says, "Chris, next week we're having a mandatory JAS meeting. You better be there." Jericho says nothing, and there we go. So there's going to be some sort of a meeting between the JAS next week on Dynamite. Think it really means anything or matters?
Nah, it doesn't.
I bet you they like try to start their meeting and then Don just comes and interrupts. You just hear the whoa, 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 whoa from Don Callis.
Oh, and I bet you like Don will try to like speak for Jericho, saying like, "Yeah,
Right.
this guy doesn't want to be with you anymore."
Now, here's one thing they could do though. They do the meeting. Don interrupts. No. If you guys haven't heard, the rumored match for Jericho at All In is Will Ospreay. So what they could do, they do the meeting. Don interrupts, tries to say, no, Jericho's with me. Jericho then says, hey, stop talking for me. Don't tell me what to do. No, I want to stay with the JAS. That then infuriates Don, which then could lead to Don saying, fine, I'm going to bring somebody in to fight you. That fight is going to happen in Wembley, and that's how they set up Jericho versus Will Ospreay. Because right now, how the hell do you set up Jericho and Will Ospreay?
Don't really.
I have no clue how they would do that at all.
Well, unless maybe it's like, oh, I got it. So like maybe let's say Jericho does agree to like be with Don, and then Don's like, how about I reward you with like facing Ospreay for the IWGP United States Championship.
I can see that.
Since you really won that title back in the day, back when Kenny had it,
Right.
but you lost, so I'll give you another chance.
So, moving forward, Tony Schiavone's in the ring and he introduces Jack Perry. Jack Perry comes down with his god-awful music, boos from the crowd, and he demands Jerry Lynn comes out to get his ass kicked. Jerry Lynn comes out at the top of the stage and was like, hey, I'd like to make an example of you, but that would be called child abuse, Jungle. And he keeps calling him Jungle. He says, also, I didn't come here to fight because there'd be no doctor in the world with all the screws in my neck and whatnot that would ever clear me to get back in that ring. But I did call a good friend from ECW, who still wrestles. Now, we come Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam comes out to Pantero's Walk, and the crowd goes wild. RVD and Perry face off in the middle of the ring before Perry just says screw it and retreats. RVD and Jerry Lynn then pose together in the ring before Perry tries to sneak attack from behind with a steel chair. RVD nearly hits him with the Van Daminator, but Jungle Boy Jack Perry again dodges it, bails out of the ring, and there we go. So we get more from RVD later, which we'll just fast forward to. So later on in the show, Renee Paquette meets up with Rob Van Dam in the back. And she asked him about being here and this and that. And he was like, hey, I heard that Jack's been running his mouth. So I wanted to do something about it. And next week, I want to challenge him for the FTW title. RVD says that when he wins the title, he'll retire the title as it doesn't get bigger than being on RVD. So, yeah, do they actually have RVD beat Jungle Boy? I don't think so.
I mean, I could see it because fans are already complaining that the FTW belt means nothing. So they're probably like, well, fans are tired of the belt, so we might as well just get rid of it.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, RVD's kind of old, though. I mean,
52.
And he's been slowing down a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
you notice him, like, limping to the ring?
I mean, a little bit, but I think once he gets in there and has the match, he should be fine. But what do you think of them saying that it's going to be on Dynamite next week and not All In? Not saving it for Wembley?
I mean, kind of surprising because there are reports saying that the only reason why AEW was talking to him because they wanted to use him for All In, and it looks like that's probably not happening.
Well, no, it wasn't that was the only reason. It was just that was one idea pitched to get RVD in. Like the pitch was always you versus Jungle Boy, and that the initial pitch was Wembley. Hey, maybe he can't work Wembley. Or they go to do the match next week, and Jungle Boy's like, I didn't agree to this. I ain't doing it tonight. How about we wait and we do it on a bigger stage? Because I'm a big star who is only going to wrestle in front of the biggest crowd or something like that. You can heel it up and say, too small of a venue for me tonight.
I mean, maybe, but
Yeah, I just felt it was very weird the way they set it up for next week.
yeah.
So then we
And
get
RVD, he was kind of talking like he was a little high.
oh, not just a little. This man had been toking it up. Trust me. This man was smoking something.
In AEW, they don't drug test, so
Well, even if he went to WWE, they weren't going to drug test him before he came out or on TV or anything. So WWE wouldn't have known. Like they would have known, but they probably wouldn't have done anything about it. The WWE only drug test full-time wrestlers. Like Brock don't get drug tested. But as we move forward, we got a video package highlighting the upcoming women's title match with Toni Storm and Hikaru Shida. And then we go in to the Anything Goes match. And so, yeah, just a random hardcore match. Don't really know. Like, I get why this match happened because 3 guys were brawling after the match last week, but it's like, okay, cool. This is all just leading up to the BCC versus Best Friends in a Parking Lot brawl on Friday. On Friday. Like, no one's going to watch.
why didn't they just do like a 9-man tag or something, like 3 trios?
Well, no, because the ultimate goal was to get to the parking lot brawl with the Best Friends and the BCC, and you don't need Pac and Penta and Death Triangle. You don't need them in there. But I think having 9 people in a parking lot brawl, that would have been a little much. But as far as this match does go, Beretta immediately took out Moxley with a dive, and Penta quickly followed with one of his own. Weapons are placed all around ringside as Penta waffled a charging Moxley with a trash can shot, and Beretta as well. Penta then posed a little too long, and Moxley hit him with a cutter. Grabbed a barbed wire 2x4, and they made a joke saying, barbed wire is just like the official object of Jon Moxley, right? Or they said something like that. But before he can use it, though, Penta hit a backstabber, but Beretta broke up the pin attempt. Moxley took Beretta down and used the barbed wire 2x4 before hitting a pile driver onto it, landing more on his own back instead. Penta then fought back with the back suplex onto the barbed wire as Penta and Abrahantes set up tables at ringside, and they're like, oh, Alex Abrahantes is helping him. And they're like, yeah, it's anything goes. There's no rules. Nothing says he can't. At this point, Trent Beretta is bleeding. Jon Moxley is not. And they're fighting on the top rope. Moxley and, well, actually, before that, Penta was cut off in the ropes but by Moxley in the barbed wire bat, or 2x4. Beretta then joined in and hit a massive superplex on Moxley through the 2 tables at ringside as we go to commercial break. Coming back, Penta set up more tables during the break, and we had a 3-way slugfest when we returned. Beretta wanted a superplex on Penta through the tables, but Penta countered into a wild avalanche destroyer through the tables. Moxley pulled Penta up and tackled him through the other table that was set up. Moxley then grabbed a bag from under the ring, and of course, you know what was coming. He dropped thumbtacks all over the ring. Well, one part of the ring. He then ripped at Penta's shirt. Moxley and Penta traded finisher attempts until Moxley finally hit a pile driver on the thumbtacks and got a 2 off of it. There's a flipping suplex onto the tacks that followed as Moxley sacrificed himself to hit a cutter on Beretta onto the tacks. Beretta then countered a pile driver and laid out Moxley with a crunchy onto the tacks. But Penta chucked a trash can at Trent to break up the pin. Another 3-way slugfest ensued before Beretta ate a King Kong lariat into the tacks, leaving Moxley and Penta to duke it out in the ring. Moxley then hit a paradigm shift on Penta, but Beretta then came just flying in with a running knee, takes out Moxley, jumps on Penta, and pins him to pick up the victory. So there we go. Trent Beretta picks up the win, not Jon Moxley, as many probably assumed it would happen. So before we get to the post-match, what did you think of the match itself?
I mean, match was okay. Nothing crazy, but like, I will say I'm not mad that Trent Beretta won. I'm not mad. I expected Moxley to win, but I'm not mad that Trent Beretta won.
Right.
And it was a good way to like keep up the Best Friends and BCC feud keeping going.
So post-match, Moxley trapped Beretta in a rear naked choke as Claudio and Wheeler made their way through the crowd, but were cut off by Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor. The BCC were beating down Cassidy and Taylor at ringside. Orange Cassidy took a hard bump over the barricade onto the floor, like you heard that thud when he flipped over the barricade. The BCC at one point, the BCC were beating down Cassidy and Taylor at ringside before Beretta came flying off the top rope and wiped everybody out. The BCC did eventually retreat, but not before Moxley was thrown into the ring, hit with an orange punch, and then goes like this, and then falls out of the ring. I'm like, what the hell kind of bump was that? Whatever. Anyways, Chuck Taylor then grabs the microphone and says that we're challenging you three to a parking lot brawl this Friday on Rampage. And let's go back to where we've done this before, the parking lot at Daly's place. And they make a point to let us know on commentary, oh, we're in Tampa, that's in Jacksonville. So saying that's not being taped tonight. At least I don't assume. How far away is Tampa to Jacksonville? What are your thoughts while I look this up of the parking lot brawl being set up?
I mean, it's not a bad idea, I would guess.
Oh, yeah, there's no way they're getting this match filmed tonight. That's a 3.5-hour drive almost. Maybe they film it tomorrow night. They got to all stay an extra day in Florida. I doubt they film this match in the middle of the day and then air it on Rampage.
They'll probably have to do like Thursday night, I would say.
That's what I would think. I mean, there's a chance maybe they just, soon as that match was over, they all drove straight to Jacksonville to film it. There's a chance they film it tonight, but I don't think so.
Or, I mean, are they going to be in Jacksonville next week?
Well, I mean, I don't know, but why would that matter? Because the match is airing this Friday.
I mean, they could always wait it off maybe next week or something.
Well, no,
I don't know.
I'm
overthinking it,
yeah,
really.
They already showed the graphic and aired it and announced it. Next week they're in, next week they're in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, never mind then.
Right? Columbus.
Why do they say Jacksonville then? I mean,
just because
I get it. That's where it all started, but
the Daly's place
you're
thing.
making it too confusing.
Well, now it makes sense. So after Dynamite ended, I've been seeing some tweets from people live in the building. Jericho came out and cut a promo about 200 episodes. Tony Khan was out there. MJF came out. Yeah, they've got time to kill now because probably a 30-minute match, 30-minute match, does not need to be filmed during the Rampage tapings tonight. So I guess people get to leave earlier from the show. I don't know. So then next we have the RVD backstage segment with Renee, and then we go to the ring. MJF comes out. Great loud ovation from the crowd. He gets a little emotional in the middle of the ring, and MJF says he had ADD and rejection-sensitive disorder, meaning his brain is structured different and can't regulate rejection-based emotions or behaviors, making life sometimes difficult for him. MJF said there is a lot about his past that the fans don't know, and a lot of it he's blacked out. But a memory he held was when he was bullied as a child. He thought the only way to protect himself was to attack people before they attack him. MJF realized that being a scumbag is easy, but not the way to go, as he did it because he was scared. So he's not scared anymore because of the fans who showed that they care about him, and they've showed sympathy for the devil. MJF said, oh, but I'm still a scumbag, but now I'm your scumbag. And the fans start chanting, he's our scumbag. He's our scumbag. And he says, yes, I am. He's like, one person taught me about trust, to be vulnerable, and that I deserve friends. And I want to introduce that man. He's one of my best friends. He is Adam Cole. Adam Cole walks out. No entrance music, no boom or any of that. He just comes out, says that he appreciates MJF sharing his story and the man he's become, and says you're not alone. For years, Cole was also a jerk because he was scared. But he put over MJF, becoming the man he is destined to be, as deep down, there's a good guy in there. Cole said that the fans are proud of him, as MJF thanks Cole for performing verbal acts of kindness towards him. But, I could still be a scumbag at times. MJF brings up how he promised Cole a world title match last week, win, lose, or draw. He brought it up again, saying Cole doesn't deserve a match. He deserves the match on the biggest stage there is, Wembley, All In. MJF then produces a contract and hands it to Adam Cole, saying, you sign this, you get the title shot. You get the match. Now here's, before I keep going, one thing to look at. He said, I promised you a world title match, but you don't deserve a world title match. You deserve the match. So maybe I'm looking too far into this, but what if Adam Cole didn't read the contract and it's just a match with Max at Wembley, not a title match? Title's not actually on the line. And he screwed Adam Cole out of the title match. And now he's just going to fight him in a regular match. I mean, maybe I'm thinking too much into it.
Fans are going to be pissed off in Wembley.
Right. And
if that actually happens.
Right. And the graphic does say world title match. Anyways, without reading the contract, Adam Cole signs it. Both men hug, and the graphic is shown on the screen as the two men posed on the turnbuckles. Then we go to Roderick Strong backstage, who's flipping out, breaking stuff. The Kingdom then walk up, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, and say that Cole always forgets who his true friends are and walks away. Which I like that reference because you remember back in the day, Taven, Bennett, Cole, they were the Kingdom. They're the original Kingdom. So we'll see where it all leads to. There's going to be something with Roderick Strong. Like, there's got to be something other than just him getting mad. Like, he keeps saying he's going to turn on you. Be careful. He's going to, and Madam's like, I know. So I like this story. I like where it's going. They got the match. They're still friends. But there's a layer we haven't seen yet that I feel like may not even come till All In. What are your thoughts?
I'm really interested in what they do with the Kingdom here, because do they have Roddy join the Kingdom?
Well, I don't think it's that. I just think it's more of the Kingdom going, oh, he forgot about us. Now he's going to forget about you. I think that's what that subtleness was supposed to be.
So, let's say, they do the match at All In, and then, Adam Cole, let's say he pins MJF and says he wins the belt, and MJF says, actually on the contract, it says you just get a match, and the title's now on the line. And, if that actually does happen, fans in Wembley are going to be pissed.
Right.
They're going to be pissed. So I don't know if I'd go that far, though.
So we got some new info that we learned tonight pertaining to the actual Wembley show. I'm going to pull this graphic up on the screen. This is some things that the fans need to know. So, boom. So it does state here, we know, Sunday, August 27th, and it does say live on pay-per-view. So you will be able to order the show on pay-per-view. It will also be streaming on Bleacher Report. But here's the big thing, the times. 6 p.m. BST, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. The All In 0 hour will start 1 hour earlier, noon Eastern. So really, everything kicks off 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. So just so you guys know, it's like when WWE runs a Saudi show, first thing in the morning. It's also interesting that it's not going to be, quote unquote, in prime time, 8 p.m. in London. It's starting at 6 p.m. in London. That's an interesting one. So as we move forward, we hear, carry on our wayward son, and out come the Elite. The Elite are here to take on Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. Felt like, this match kind of just like they tried to cram a bunch into this match and tried to do a bunch of things, and it was just, again, there. Post-match was more noteworthy than the actual match itself. And I'm not even talking about the whole we signed new contracts thing. I'm talking about one line from Kenny Omega that we'll get to here in a moment. So, where was I? Jeff Jarrett and Kenny Omega started off the match with Jarrett hitting an early body slam and then going for the Fargo strut. Lethal tagged in and was quickly taken down, allowing the Bucks to make fast tags. A pop-up Hurricane Rana and a double dropkick led Singh, setting him Singh making a tag, and then fired up Matt Jackson quickly realized, and he tagged out to Nick. The Bucks then hit multiple dropkicks until Singh just hit a crossbody and wiped him out. Singh, Lethal, and Jarrett all mocked the Elite and posed as they isolated Nick on their side of the ring. Nick did manage to get the hot tag to Omega after a commercial break, dropping Lethal with a "You Can't Escape," but Lethal got the knees up on a moonsault with Singh running the distraction. Lethal tried to go for lethal injection, but it was avoided by the Bucks, who dropped Lethal and Jarrett with super kicks and chopped down Singh with super kicks until Omega popped up and hit the V-trigger on the big man. Omega then signaled that he wanted to go for the one-winged angel on Satnam Singh. That didn't happen. Karen Jarrett distracted the referee, allowing Sanjay Dutt to cut off Omega. There was a lethal combination that connected on Omega as Brandon Cutler would spray the cold spray in Karen Jarrett's face. And then this is when everything just broke down and was just, what the fuck? Matt and Jeff Hardy come out. They start brawling at ringside. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? They told us nothing. No reason. Then I see on Twitter later, oh, well, Jarrett and Lethal eliminated the Hardys from some tag team battle royal thing. Oh. Okay, they could have at least told us that. Because this, like, the Hardys came out, they brawled a little bit, and then they just disappeared. All of a sudden, Hangman shows up. Hangman appears, hits a buckshot lariat. Lethal then tried to do a guitar shot, but ate a V-trigger and a one-winged angel, and got pinned. It was okay, but too much whatever at the end of this match. What do you think of the match itself before we get to the post-match?
I will say Jay Lethal always works well with the Young Bucks.
Yes.
Like, if you've seen, like, their stuff that they did in Ring of Honor back in the day, like, it was great. So, Jay Lethal always works well with the Young Bucks. Mm-hmm. But as far as the match itself, I mean, yeah, they were cramming too much into the match. It was literally just, oh, we need something to do for the Elite, so let's just give them this match and stuff. And then at the end, They can announce that, like, yeah, we did sign with new contracts with AEW, so... yeah, it was basically just there.
So after the match, Omega hands the microphone to Paige, and Paige says, well, I bet you're already aware. You saw the news. We've signed new contracts. We're here to stay. Omega then says, and here's the most interesting part. We are here, whether it be on Dynamite, Ring of Honor, Rampage. He stops for a second, goes, or even Collision. You'll be seeing way more of us in AEW, then does his goodbye, good night line. So, Kenny Omega did tease that we could be seeing him in the Elite on Collision. Maybe he's agreed to work Punk? I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if they work with Punk at All In, but I mean, right now they're building towards Punk versus MJF on Collision.
Well, that would probably be all out in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
What the heck do they do with the Elite at All In, though?
There is a rumor
I have no
clue. The Bucks challenging FTR for the tag titles. And then maybe Kenny versus Takeshita. So.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
We actually get something that I kind of forgot about going into the review, but now seeing here in my notes, I remember. Oh man, I liked this a lot. It was the Mogul Embassy video with Nick Wayne. This was different, and I loved it. So we're in the back, and Mogul Embassy's talking about why AR Fox turned on Darby Allin. Why AR Fox did what he did last week. Because, well, Darby said that if it wasn't for AR Fox, there'd be no Darby Allin. Yet when Darby Allin started getting successful, when Darby Allin got signed by AEW, he couldn't even call AR Fox to tell him. He couldn't even call AR Fox to thank him for everything he did for him. Swerve then says, hey, just so you know, we're not family, but affiliates help each other out, and we're affiliates. Anyways, he says, and I'm going to put you in one of my new movies. Actually, roll the footage. I filmed it already. So we see Swerve and Fox walking towards like a garage, and they tell us Prince Nana is filming this. And I go, this looks familiar. Is that Nick Wayne's house? And they tell us, so we're here at the Buddy Wayne Wrestling Academy. And Swerve goes, I've never been here. I'd love to check it out in person. AR Fox also has Darby's skateboard with him. They walk in, and Nick Wayne is in there training. They said that they knew that Nick Wayne would be here because he posted his training schedule online. They then start attacking everybody in the ring. There's like 3 guys with Nick Wayne. Nick Wayne then gets laid out. Nick Wayne then gets very bloody and busted open. They bust a picture frame over his head. The picture frame with the picture of him and his dad in it. Then they say, so Nick Wayne's trying to like reach for his phone. Like, what are you going to do? Call your mom? Trying to call your mom? No. But I called Darby. Open the phone. Unlock the phone. Unlock the phone. He's trying to unlock it. He can't get it to unlock. They're like, unlock the phone. And they're holding him there. And then finally he calls Darby. And Darby's like, hey, bro, what's up? And he's like, well, this ain't Nick. It's AR Fox. And Darby's like, what? And so Swerve takes the phone. And he's like, shut up and listen to me, or something bad's about to happen. He's like, says the whole thing that AR Fox had already said. When you got, famous and this and that, you couldn't call AR Fox, and you didn't show him the respect that he showed you, and this and that, and 5 years went by and you didn't this and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, but no, we're going to make your life hell. We are the ghosts of your past, and we're here to haunt you. And this is just the beginning. Then they show Nick Wayne once more, bloody as all hell, puddles of blood laying next to him. Yeah, wild, crazy. AR Fox then throws the skateboard through one of the windows in the garage. That's how the segment ends. I like this a lot. I thought this was good because how different it was.
Oh, yeah, I did too. This honestly reminded me of one of those like crime shows where like someone answers the phone and they're like, this is the kidnapper. We have your son.
Right.
Like I thought this was really good. I liked it.
But then we had the Ring of Honor tag team titles on the line. It was Aussie Open. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis defending against El Hijo del Vikingo and Commander. They had Alex Abrahantes at ringside. And boy, was this just a spot fest match. Was this just a move, action-packed fire of a match? It was good, but it was just a lot. There was a lightning quick.
It was hard to keep up with a lot of stuff in this match.
So lightning fast pace started off with Vikingo. He sent Fletcher to the floor as Commander walked off of Vikingo's shoulders into a Hurricane Rana onto Davis, who regrouped outside with Fletcher. Back inside, Commander was caught with the fireman's carry punt kick, but couldn't isolate him long, as Commander lowered the top rope and sent Fletcher again into the floor. Commander wall-walked Davis, who was sent to the outside by a spinning Vikingo. Fletcher then found himself hung up in the ropes, and Vikingo hit a guillotine leg drop. Both tried some double dives, but were caught by Davis and Fletcher, who ran around ringside, colliding both together. Commander was isolated during the break as Vikingo made the hot tag, but was quickly flattened with the double super kick in midair. A running up and over slam from Davis and Fletcher got a 2 count as Vikingo was sandwiched with a double arm shot. While Vikingo was in a fireman's carry, Commander came flying off the back and hit a leaping destroyer on Fletcher, while Vikingo hit a crucifix bomb on Davis. Aussie Open was sent to the floor as Vikingo and Commander did a rope walk into a moonsault on the outside. With Davis down inside, Vikingo and Commander hit a double 450 splash, but Fletcher broke up the pin. Fletcher and Vikingo then spilled outside as Commander tried to go for the rope walk shooting star press, but missed as Davis and Fletcher connected with the Corrales and retained the tag team titles. Now, here's one interesting thing. When they did the Ring of Honor tapings last week before Collision, they actually brought out Aussie Open without the tag titles and didn't announce them as tag team champions. And so knowing those spoilers, I'm sitting here just going, okay, so are they losing the titles? They're going to lose? What? Why wouldn't they announce them as the tag champions? So I guess they just didn't announce them as the tag champions so they didn't spoil that they retain. I don't know. Fun match, though. I will say that. Fun match. What did you think?
I mean, yeah, it was a fun match. It was a little like hard to like catch up with a lot of stuff in this match, and really, there was really no like build up to it. It was really just like a match. Like, hey, we need another match on here, so let's just do this one.
Why didn't they just do this on Ring of Honor television? That's my question.
Exactly. I mean, Tony Khan said that he was gonna use more of the AEW like Ring of Honor title matches on Ring of Honor. So why not do this on Ring of Honor?
Exactly. Then we go into our main event, which I didn't expect this to be the main event because, and I'm going to show you guys something. I'll pull up a graphic here for a second. Typically, when AEW puts out this graphic, show it here. Whatever is up here bigger than everything else is usually the main event of the show. And so for the women's title match just to be down here with everything else, and they go like, oh, this is our main event tonight. I was like, what? Huh? But I guess it makes sense why it's the main event because, well, Shida won the belt. So it was Toni Storm defending the AEW Women's World Championship against Hikaru Shida with Ruby Soho and Saraya at ringside. Both ladies traded some forearms to start the match off before Storm did regroup with the Outcast on the outside. Back inside the ring, Shida draped Storm on the edge of the apron and hit a running knee before sending Storm into the guardrail. Shida tried for some punches, but Storm slipped out and dropped Shida headfirst on the railing. In the ring, Storm was suplexed into the corner and then superplexed her, and then Shida tried to regroup, but was still kind of dazed. Storm got control with a running hip attack and sent Shida out to get briefly beat up by Ruby Soho and Saraya, who is like extra loud screaming. Like they were letting it known that they were beating her up. And the ref just, what? Didn't even care. Didn't even care. Shida did avoid a sweet cheek music in the corner and hit a release German suplex to follow. And then Zaguri sent Storm to the corner, and Shida hit multiple running knee strikes before finally getting the 10 corner punches. Shida hit a missile dropkick for a 2, as Shida connected with a Meteora for a close near fall. Shida wanted a superplex, but Saraya took the ref. Soho tripped up Shida, and Storm connected with a tornado DDT. Storm then connected with a violent sweet cheek music and a DDT, but Shida still had fight. Both ladies then had a battle off with some chops and some forearms until Shida popped Storm with a pumping knee. She then hit a Falcon Arrow, but only got a 2 off of it. Saraya then tossed the kendo stick in the ring right in front of the referee as Storm dared Shida to use it and get disqualified. Shida would instead smack Ruby Soho, who had just jumped up on the apron, and the referee turned to take the kendo stick away. Storm blinded Shida with a spray paint, hit the Storm Zero, and Shida kicked out. And when Shida kicked out, this crowd went bananas. Storm wanted to go for another Storm Zero, but Shida was able to backdrop out of it and hit a high stack from a flash pin and pick up the victory. So there we go. Shida once again is our AEW Women's World Champion. Confetti reigns over the ring and Shida. And there we go. They tell us on commentary, Shida was the champion only during the pandemic. And now, as the champion again, she will finally have the opportunity to defend that title in front of fans. So what do you think of the match and Shida becoming the new champion?
The match was okay. And honestly, I'm very happy for Shida. I really am. Like, I did not expect Shida to win, but I'm very happy she did. Because, yeah, I think, like when she was champion, like, there were, like, no fans around her, like, while she was champion.
Exactly.
So, I will say, like, if she's defending the belt at Wembley, like, that's going to be really cool for her. And I'm very happy for her.
So, is it bad that soon as the bell rings and we hear Justin Roberts say, and your new AEW Women's World Champion, Hikaru Shida, my first thought was, oh, Toni Storm dropped the belt so she can win it back at Wembley in London Is it bad that that was my
Probably.
initial first thought? Like, that's the exact first thought I had.
I mean, it'll probably happen, which will suck, but
Right? So with that,
they
Go for it.
couldn't do like. I'm surprised they're not doing anything with like Britt Baker at all in though.
I mean, we don't know yet. Maybe they will. Maybe a triple threat. Maybe Britt Baker, Sheeta, and Storm. Maybe Britt Baker. Maybe something with Saraya. I don't know. Oh, Lord. Don't tell me Saraya's going to win the belt in Wembley.
I hope not. Maybe I don't know. I mean, Tony Khan likes doing those hometown wins.
Well, because you know they got to do something big with Saraya at that show. I can see it. I can really see it now that I'm thinking about it. Holy crap. They want Saraya. No. So it wasn't Tony Storm loses the belt just to win it back. It's Tony Storm had to lose this belt because she wasn't losing it to Saraya. Someone else has to lose it to Saraya. Oh, boy. Oh, no.
I mean, yeah, Tony Khan, he really likes doing those like hometown like championship victories. He did it with Punk. He did it with the Acclaimed.
Right.
I mean, the list goes on. So, I mean, yeah, like, yeah, now that you think about it, it's probably going to be Saraya.
Holy crap. So as far as Rampage and Collision do go, and Dynamite next week, really, they announced the following. Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and, well, actually, let me look at something really fast. Is it just Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta versus Moxley and Claudio, or is it a trios parking lot brawl?
I think they only said, like us, like Trent and Chuck.
Right, I'm going to go back and see if I can find
Fox.
the graphic for it really fast, because they showed it in like the bottom of the screen, and now that I'm thinking, I don't think, let me see, parking lot brawl. Why did it not come up? Let's see. Yeah, I don't see, because like they showed the graphic, but it was like in the bottom corner of the screen, and it didn't. Because the initial, you would think if all three of them were in the ring, and Orange Cassidy hit Moxley with that orange punch, it would be 3-on-3. But I think the graphic only showed 2-on-2, so we'll see. Anna Jay will be taking on Sky Blue. Swerve Strickland and AR Fox will be in action. Keith Lee and the Hardys will be taking on Kip Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade. Again, why did the Hardys attack or come out and help against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal when it's not like there was going to be follow-up to that? No, they're just going to team with Keith Lee randomly against Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade. So why did the Hardys even need to come out there at all? As far as Collision does go, go for it.
I mean, if you think about it, like Matt Hardy, he teamed with Jeff Jarrett though in that random like tag team tournament. So maybe they're going the route of like, oh, like these two didn't get along together in that tag tournament, so we're gonna have them feud together.
Right. As far as Collision does go, we will hear from the Acclaimed. Chris Statlander will defend the TBS Championship against Mercedes Martinez. FTR will defend the AEW World Tag Team Championships against Big Bill and Brian Cage. And the real World Championship will be on the line when CM Punk defends against Ricky Starks. Now, here's another interesting thing, and I'm going to pull up the graphic here. They noted that for this match with the title on the line, special outside official Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That to me does not sound like special guest referee. Special outside official sounds like Muhammad Ali at WrestleMania 1, where he can become the referee if he needs to, but he's not the actual assigned official. Is that the case? I don't know. That'll be an interesting one. I won't be watching live because I'll be watching SummerSlam. That's a good question.
I mean, isn't it?
Go for it.
I mean, isn't it also like to make sure there's no like outside interference as well?
Right, but Punk said last week there's going to be a special referee. Punk said that on Collision, special referee. So, I don't know. Also, what are you going to watch live? SummerSlam, Collision, or both?
Most likely SummerSlam, I would say.
I think I'll watch SummerSlam and then maybe have like Collision on a second screen or something, but only have it just to see and not fully pay attention. I mean, I'll watch it eventually, but SummerSlam will take precedence. And then as far as next week's Dynamite, only one thing was announced. Jack Perry will defend the FTW Championship against Rob Van Dam. And I think they said it was under FTW rules.
What the heck are FTW rules?
Means no rules. The only rule is you got to pin him in the ring. Cass said it last week. So with that, that is everything that took place tonight on AEW Dynamite. And yeah, so what you were talking to me earlier about the whole Tony Khan stage show at Starcast, I see the graphic here now. It is actually Tony Khan's going to be interviewed for a live edition of the Unrestricted podcast with Aubrey Edwards and Will Washington. That should be cool.
That'd be cool for fans, though, asking
right?
Tony Khan questions.
But with that, you guys know what we thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of the show as we go and refresh all the polls. Boom, boom, boom. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 100% liked the show. Looking over at the Twitter poll. Where the hell's the Twitter poll? Did the Twitter poll never go? Oh, there it is. There it is. 65% liked the show. 20% thought it was just all right. And 14% did not like it. Looking at the YouTube community poll, this one, 76% liked it. 15% thought it was just all right. And 9% didn't like the show. Some of the comments here. I'm happy Sheeta's the champion. Sheeta deserves it. Person says, amazing celebration, 10 out of 10. This one says, RVD is all elite and Sheeta, our new women's champion, 10 out of 10. Person says, almost good. New AEW women's champion, finally. Person says, I liked it. RVD is the show now. A couple others saying, glad for Sheeta, 8 out of 10. And another one says, very underwhelming for a celebration show. I would agree. It's just a show. But looking at the live poll here on YouTube, 67% liked it. 21% thought it was just all right, and 12% didn't like the show. So with that, guys, that is going to wrap everything up. I do want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. But Luke, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me over at Twitter or X at Petke_21. And you can also find me over at Twitch at TheLukePetke.
So with that, guys, I want to say have a great night. I'll be back Friday morning for the wrestling wrap-up, and then Friday evening for Friday Night SmackDown, and then Saturday night for SummerSlam, and then we'll start it back all again on Monday with another edition of the wrestling wrap-up. And that Monday edition of the wrap-up is where we will do the Collision review. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.